So for now, I will start. And once again, I hope this is going to help you as much as it helped me. So each game that we play brings different opportunities. Sometimes our opponents will overextend or forget about safety, trying to take territorial leads. Right? We've seen this before. So it's up to the other player to find the weakness and exploit it. It could also turn out that both players have a weak group. In fact, when I was helping Aaron today, both of them had a weak group. And so whoever played first, whoever plays in the proper direction and strengthen themselves first, will get a huge advantage, right? So I guess let me stay on scripts for now. But yeah, so it could turn out both players have a weak group. And you need to play the proper direction to strengthen yourself and defend at the same time. This does happen quite often. Like I said, it happened just this morning when I was teaching in the beginning. Um, so, what does it mean to attack, right? When we first are taught in the game how to play, we taught how to capture stones, right? So, people believe that attacking is meant for, the end goal of an attack is to kill and to capture. But in most cases, trying to capture is a losing strategy. I'm sure everyone here has tried to capture something and then it backfired on them and then they lost stones, right? Or they couldn't kill. So, this is an extremely important concept to understand what attacking actually means. The book references a player who mastered all the Tetsujis and eye stealing techniques. His goal was to only kill. If he had territory and there wasn't a kill inside of it, he wasn't satisfied. It worked very well on weaker players, right? If you're very good at Tetsuji and shape and you're able to just stomp on your opponents, it's going to work very well on weaker players. But when it came to players of equal strength or stronger, his win record was low. Now, I haven't seen this Wonderkin's games, but maybe this is something similar, right? Maybe he's become very good at fighting and shape and Tetsuji, but when he's facing someone of equal strength like Terry, he's missing the important parts, right? Directional play, how to attack, things like that. And so this might actually explain this king person, but I haven't met him. I don't know. I haven't seen any of his games. But this is just that story you guys gave me earlier about him. It seems to chime with this a little. So let's take a look at some examples of someone who overcommits on kills. So we're gonna look at the first example that's set up. So in this case, if we evaluate the board, we can see that black has lots of potential on this side of the board and lots of territory on the bottom, right? And white has a weak group. The idea is, well, let's just talk about what happens, right? So in the game, black is the killer, right? He's the one who loves to kill. And so he overcommits by stealing the eye here. And when he does, we can see white pushes on some weakness, pushes, takes something, right? Actually gains a capture, which damages, it just completely spoils this territory here. White jumps out. White's trying to attack the shape, hitting two stones. Double Hane. Atari spoiling the shape, putting black in an empty triangle, so this territory gets squandered. And we see this territory starting to get squandered. And so white connects, white peeks at this, peeks at this, peeks at this. And then we can see that white ends up cutting and getting the kill here. So white ends up getting two eyes. And black has no answer at this point. Oh, wait 1 second. Hey, Arunas, how's it going? It says you're connecting audio. I don't know if you can hear me just yet. But let me continue for now. So black has no answer, right? Black can't attack white anymore. White is just alive. So we see that if black surrounded on the outside, black would have obtained a bunch of territory here on the left, made many points. But instead, when he placed on the inside, when he was just focusing on killing, this allowed white to expand and destroy so much. When you go for an all or nothing strategy, it's very easy to lose often. So this strategy of like focusing on this kill is all or nothing, right? But there was no need for it. If black just played here, it simply would have been fine, right? So I hope this makes sense so far. Let me just say once again, hey Arunas, how's it going? Welcome to the class. Um, your mic always picks up a lot of background noise, so I hope you don't mind
Oh, I can.
if you
Yeah.
just mute. And I will be asking questions, so we'll definitely get back to you. But we're right now we're covering the Attack and Defense book, chapter two, and it goes over how overly committing to kill usually tends not to work out, right? So it would have been much better to just focus on keeping white small instead, right? If white lived like something like this, we can see black gets to keep all of its territory and then get sente, right? This part wasn't a part of the book, but this is my own understanding of the situation. All right. I'm just going to delete this for now. And let us move on to the next example. So at this point in the book, it explains this over aggressive player, has lost consecutively to the stronger players and people of equal strength. So he asks the advice on like what he's doing wrong and how to get stronger, right? And so the stronger player shows him this example. So the question is, does this ladder work? Right? If you're watching this in the past, right, or in the future, I should say, you can pause and check for yourself. I'm gonna play through this ladder, and you guys will see if you don't know already. So we see white now has many liberties, and so all these cuts are vulnerable, right? So if black plays this ladder, black has pushed white into black's potential. He opened himself up to cutting points and double Ataris everywhere, and essentially he's ruined his game. So the idea, right, is when we over focus on killing our opponents, and especially when it doesn't work, this results, this ruins your game. Literally, if we look back to what it was, Black had all the potential here, right? Like even if Black just played this, or even an Atari, and played this the other way, right? Black was gaining lots and lots of points. But if we overcommit on the kill, it just kind of spoils everything. And this is something that happens all the time. It goes really well with that other example, right? Like Black has all the potential, so he doesn't have to fight if he doesn't want to. So in this case, just like we saw in both examples, it's very important to understand that if we overcommit on trying to kill something, most likely we'll be destroying a lot of our potential. Each situation is different, of course, but this is a very important understanding, right? It's a very important way to look at this game. If you find that a lot of the times when you attack somebody and then they overturn you, right? They find a weakness and get out, and then you lose. This is kind of like the main reason why. So let us go to some more examples. So there's two things that we mainly use attacking for, and they're explained as in attacking to gain territory and attacking to gain power. It's very important to understand these two. And so we're going to look at some examples. So I try to use attacking to gain as much territory as I can at all times, right? Of course, I break these fundamentals sometimes, and you guys see in the live stream that I do, and it hurts. But anyway, on this example, we have A and B. And let me ask somebody if it was White's turn to play, what do you think? What do you think would be the answer? Marty, let me ask you.
So I think the right answer would be A, because B just looks a little small.
Okay, that's one reasoning. What does A accomplish too once you play here?
It's trying to hem black in.
True. Let's take a look. So once we play A, it's attacking these black stones on a large scale, and it's we can see it's building a large moyo, right? This is a very big area for white, and so if we
Yeah,
use,
I focus in on the Moyo first because I'm a builder, I'm a territorial player,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't see the attack as much.
Yeah, right. So once we hit on top of black here, we're just cramping up black and gaining a lot of points. So this is doing two things at once. It's a very important dual purpose idea. And this is, like I said, once I started thinking like this changed the way I was looking at my go boards. Um, Essentially, if black is trying to, make a balloon to make life, right? As black's in trouble, we can push and make a wall and end up solidifying our territory. So we can see if we attack black from the correct direction. This is the most important part of that idea. We think of directional play, right? If we attack from the correct direction, white is building a large moya in the center, and white has no intention to kill black, but instead to make territory and make black live small. That's the idea. Of course, if our opponents give us an opportunity to kill, then we should, if there's no doubt. But if we don't know if we can kill them, a lot of the times we just want to attack for profit. Let's take a look at the other way. So instead, if white plays here, we see that what we're doing is we are taking away black space. So black is starting to be unable to make eyes on the bottom, right? So we're stripping them of its eye potential. But black can push on our weakness. We have to defend and then jump out. And so if we uproot black, if we're trying to undercut black, this gives black the ability to move forward into the center. We prevent his ability to make eyes, and we guide black deeper into our potential, spoiling it. If we don't have a great chance of killing black, which I don't think we do in this case, then all we've done is hurt white's potential, right? It's very clear that white's potential, or Moyo, was starting to build here. And if we're pushing black into it, then that's just ruining it. Very similar to the other two examples we saw, right? Black had a lot of potential in those examples and then was spoiling it. So this idea is very important. There was something else I thought I had written here. So yeah, this it's actually very harsh language from the book. So these aren't my words, but let's read it out, right? Let's read what it says. So it's very hard to kill large groups in Go. It's much easier to use attacking to build up frameworks. And this is where the book says, to master this strategy, all you need is the ability to see in two different directions, right? We saw one direction here and one direction here. Anyone who cannot do a simple thing like that has no business playing Go. That's what the book says. I thought that was kind of harsh, but I think it makes a good point, and it's I guess it's trying to make that point stick, right? Like if you can't see, if you can't look in two directions and realize that like you can make points here, then apparently you got no business playing Go. um,
Oh no.
yeah, but anyway, we're here to teach this, right? So if you weren't able to do this before, of course, this is why we're here, right? Um,
That sounds like the guy who wrote Lessons in the Fundamentals of Go. He's very harsh too.
yeah, was it Kageyama, right?
Yeah, yeah, Kageyama.
This one I think is Akira Ishida and James Davies. But from my understanding, a lot of these books just put pronames on them. Kageyama, I'm pretty sure wrote his book, but I think this one, I don't know. But I hear a lot of times they take just big names and put them on it, and then it's somebody else writing it. Either way, I think that was a really good example, and it's so important to understand how to attack to make profit. So that's really what I was trying to drive at there. All right, so let's take a look at the next example. Here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna ask somebody else this one. Let me ask Pico, if you don't mind. Pico.
Ah, white to play, huh?
Yes, white to play, and
I would
mhm.
I would honestly not even consider B. I would probably just pick A.
Okay, that's very good, right? That's definitely the answer. And I think it's kind of easy to see once we think about it, right? In the heat of the moment, we might see that black is very weak and try and poke at this eye space. First, we'll look at the correct answer just very quickly. A is definitely correct. The idea is that once we're putting pressure on this black group, we're also building points, right? This is once again, we're attacking for profit. We're attacking to gain territory. So even when black pushes and jumps, The idea is white is building and attacking at the same time. So it's doing two things at once in a very good manner. While black is just running away in this what's called the neutral space, right? Because there's no points here, because white's touching it as well. And so as black's making no points and running away, white is profiting while attacking. Very important to understand the direction of play in this. Now, if we're an overly aggressive player and we're just constantly looking to steal our opponent's eyes and poke at weaknesses, we could play here. But once black actually sets up like a net, now black gets a really nice squeeze. I'm sure you guys, we've seen this a lot. I don't know if you haven't mastered yet. This is the roll impact technique. Essentially, you sacrifice one stone. So instead of pulling out, we Atari or set up the Atari, and then we Atari, and then squeeze. And so now we see that black has put white in a dumb looking shape, the dumpling shape. These are all wasted stones. Black has hurt this stone, which hurts the territory on this side significantly, and is coming out, right? And so this potential might get squandered as well because black has a foothold here. Um, so I didn't read the script on that one, but you guys get the idea. Like those are the essential concepts of this. So yeah, this is attacking for profit. Very, very, very good way to look at your game. All right. So now we're going to look at another example. And it is here. So what direction? Now this one's a lot harder, I think. So I'm going to give this to Terry. I think she's the expert in the class today. Um, and it doesn't have hints, just like the book. The book had no hints. I was happy to find it. So let's see if you can bring some joy to yourself. What direction should white attack the group in on the lower left center? So in this part, we see that black
Oh,
has a weakness, and so
okay.
how should white attack?
Hmm. I think white should attack it from the right side because white can build a huge moil on the right. So maybe um, now, of course, white does have a potentially weak group above it, but I'm going to say from the right side, maybe L7.
That's right. That is the correct move. Getting the first move,
Yay!
getting the first move is definitely the start. So
Yay!
once we play through, yeah, I'll keep going with it. But yeah, once we play through, essentially we want to try and surround this. You are correct in that white it has a weak group here, but because of this capture, I think it's going to be very easy for white to make two eyes. So if we
Yeah.
consider that, then this would actually be considered thickness, right? If it's a group that
Hmm.
can't be killed. So we're pushing black into our thickness. And once we
Right.
gain enough tempo, then the book actually says to come back here at R4 so that
Makes
black can't
sense.
take your 3/3 away.
Very
Um,
good.
yeah, and the way you were thinking was completely correct, right? So on the top of the board, there is less potential. There's not much points for either player. This is almost considered neutral space, right? And so when we look at the board, evaluate it, this side is so fertile, right? It's fertile land, it's untouched discoveries over here. And so this is the most important part of the board. So while white claims its power towards the right side by pushing up against this weak group, now it can come back, right? Because now black has like three ways to go, or four or five or six ways, depending on how you look at it. So once you can't continue the attack aggressively anymore, that's when you come back to then claim your territory. So this is how to attack, and just like how you felt, Terry, I also felt good when I found the right move, right? Because there was no hints, and so there's actually a lot of places you can go, right? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
breaking the dog face shape was good instinct, and finding the strength here is good. This move I did miss for a disclaimer. Like I was gonna push again, but
Mhm.
now you can't really attack black as strongly, and so now's the time to just take what you earned. All right, that was a good example, and I hope everybody understands when if this was like actually your game. I hope you understand that this is the most important area, and what we can do is attack this to gain power, which then helps us get this area. So that's the concept here. So this is not attacking. Well, it is attacking for territory, but it's also considered attacking for power because you're gaining lots of power on the right side. All right. So now we're going to look, and this was one of the most important things I think I saw in the book here, which was this was a pro game. It was a pro game that teaches attacking to gain power. It was Fujisawa as black versus Sakata, I believe Sakata Io as white. Black is behind in territory. Like if we evaluate the board, White has a lot of potential here. White has a lot of potential here. White has a corner here, and then White has some potential here. But this is mainly Black's area, so we'll see how that goes. What White does have, though, is a weak group. This group in the middle is significantly weak. So although White's leading by quite a lot, right? Black only has like this, and maybe a little down here, and maybe this. But Black has lots of power, right, and can gain more of it. So if Black wants to win, he needs to find a way to exploit these weaknesses and invade all these big areas, right? Black needs to make sure to invade like everything. So let's see how this goes. So A looks like a very natural move, right? This makes territory on the bottom, right? It helps make territory on the bottom. It keeps White from moving into his stuff. Um, but if Black was to take this, Black would still be behind in points, and he would lose the game, right? If you remember last week's lesson, we talked about the balance of territory and how we shouldn't make safe moves if we're behind, like in territory. Instead, we should find ways to break up the area and make the balance, closer together. If you just play safe, then you're gonna be behind and you're gonna stay behind. So he needs to find a way to invade these large frameworks. So instead, he found this move, and he's attacking this on a global scale and inviting White to come in if White wants to. White's going to push, and Black's going to keep trying to separate his opponent, right? These are very good fundamentals. And now we come to this part of the game. So Black has two main choices. And if I was playing the game, I probably would have picked the wrong one, right? The idea is that Black is able to secure power towards White's open area, and it is a crucial moment. So my question to you, let's see, Arunis, are you up for a question? Now you're still muted. I just wanted to let you know. I do appreciate you muting because there is a lot of background noise on you. But to answer, feel free to let me know. If anybody in the stream chat wants to answer these questions, you
White
guys
to
can.
move?
Yeah, black to move.
Oh, black to move.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. White pushed up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But yeah, on stream, if you guys want to answer too.
I'm kind of liking A. Just a minute. Yeah. I'm kind of liking A. And now I'll mute.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Arunas. And you, sir, are correct. So for me, I think sometimes I do overly commit on trying to kill my opponent. And so playing black here is keeping a strong split between these two groups. But if we were to try and save these two stones, White's going to be able to push with this, and he already has two weaknesses he can kind of push on to get out. And so if White just lives here anyway, what's the point of saving these two stones? So the idea is even if this could have led to a possible strong attack, it would be better for black to play here. And the reason is because this is going to give him a much stronger foothold in invading these areas, right? And we're going to see that. So black chooses to give up these 2 stones, letting white live. White actually has the potential now to make 2 eyes. But now black has gained power, and so he can start invading. Right, I use the term. They don't use this in the book. This is my term, but I call it throwing bombs. Right, when you have a lot of strength, you can just throw bombs inside your enemy's territory, and because you have 2 or 3 ways to run around, then usually you can live. And so essentially, we're going to try and destroy White's territory. Or back then, Fujisawa was trying to destroy Sakata's territory. Oops, let me push forward here. All right, so let's see how this ended up. So White pokes. Black threw in a bomb here, right? And so now this area is pretty much squandered. What could have been really huge if White got just one more move, this now area is really messed up. White now feels he needs to try and live in this area because this is really big for black. Black then saves his 1 stone, this cutting stone here, which helps create some territory for black here. And we see after this, white lives on this side. Black now throws in another bomb over here, right? And so what was a really big area is starting to become much significantly smaller. White's last chance to claim a large territory, because it's losing its claim to do that, is to try and take this big left corner. So he attaches to black. And normally we would all answer, right? Like I would assume we would follow the golden attachment rule. But because there's something so much bigger, black ends up Atariing here. Black was able to invade all of white's biggest areas, right? Invasion. Um, and white tried to make his biggest corner, like I said, but black's last move now threatens white's wall as a whole. So we see with this Atari here, um, this group is actually getting cut off. And so this is becoming significantly weaker. This was a really, like if I found this move, I'd feel like a tactical genius. Maybe it looks obvious to people now, but like for me to ignore this type of attachment and then like attack this thing as a whole, it's really nice. We can see we're gonna speed up here and we'll see how everything turns out. So white tries to live, black continues to try and separate, and now we can see that this group here has significantly become weaker, and so now this is actually getting close to dying. Then black continues to hit the important points for white, and you can see that white actually lost its eye potential. And even though white got to break into this area a bit and possibly make its 2 eyes, black now has been able to squander what was white's last chance of making a big territory. This game shows how to attack for power. So in the other instances, we were looking at how to gain profit while attacking. But this shows that if we gain large walls facing white's big areas, then we can throw bombs that destroy white's potential. So this is really nice to show how to attack for power, because we're attacking this white group to gain the outside power. Black coordinates one attack after another. This creates the billiard ball effect, kind of like when you're shooting pool, it hits all the other spaces. So black, started attacking this, started attacking this, started attacking this, ended up attacking this. It just created this huge effect. Destroying white's balance of territory. White saved the center but lost the left corner, and in the end game, black won this game. So it was a crazy. It's a crazy example of how, if you know how to attack for power, you can change a game around, right? Because white was clearly in the lead at the start of this. I thought that was a really cool example of all that. Right. And good job, Arunas, finding the right answer. I think if I was playing a real game, I think I would have messed that up myself. So, funny enough, if I, grabbed Aaron's game, which I might, this same exact situation that happened in the book happened in Aaron's game this morning. I might just pull it up. Why not? It's a good live example of a cool guy, where pretty much. Oh, I think I'll have to go back to mine. Sorry, I have to find the review. This is what happens when I do things off the cuff. Let's see. So pretty much, this is a very similar situation. I'm gonna teach it here, and then I'll show you the same kind of idea in Aaron's game. Um, so at this point, now we're going into running battles, right? We've learned how to attack for territory, and we've learned how to attack for power. In this problem, we're given a choice for either. We can choose for power, or we can choose for territory. So my question to, let's see, Swan, if you're here with us and you're able to answer, please let me know. And
Okay.
yeah, so A, B, and C. It's now Black's turn. We can see we both have two weak groups. Black's fairly weak and White's fairly weak. What do you think the best attack for Black is against White here? And like I said, if you're watching on stream and if you want to answer, you can answer in the chat. You guys can do so in the Zoom if you want. See if you get it
I
right.
think I'm guessing B.
B. Okay. Why B compared to A and C?
Mm, I'm I think maybe that can help the weak black group escape a little bit and try to connect with other groups to survive.
Exactly right. Yes. So when we have two competing weak groups, the best move generally is to help your weak group, which then hurts White's weak group, right? This is something
Mhm.
very crucial to understand. Even in some of my recent games, I would push from the strong side and then get attacked on my weaker side, which was really bad fundamentals. So, very good answer, Swan. Thank you.
Thank
I'm,
you.
I'm going to show you the example now with Aaron, because this situation happened, right? This happens actually quite often, whether it's a 1Q game versus a 1 Dan or a 10Q versus a 9Q, right? This happens all the time. Um, so in the game, uh, Black cut White and White cut Black. And so now Black has a weak group and White has a weak group. So whoever is going to get the next move is going to be in a good position here, right? So for White left this, which is just not right, right? This is the focus of the game, and also this is the focus of the game, mind you. Look, White has a weak group here, and so Black needed to focus on looking for weak groups and strong groups, and see that this is a running battle, right? Instead, Black ended up playing away just like White played away. But if we see that if Black played pretty much anything, it will help his weak group and hurt this weak group, right? So it's a very important concept, right? Pretty much any move that Black did would have helped Black and then hurt White. And then vice versa. If White played something like this really hurts Black, right? Black has choices. Black can try and stay connected, but then get sealed in. Excuse me. Or Black can jump out, but then possibly lose these two stones, right? This could be definitely a problem. And so if Black loses these two stones, White becomes strong, and Black is still significantly weak. So here's a very good example of live problems that double digit Q players have, and even myself sometimes, is that when we have two weak groups, we have to understand we have to struggle for power, right? In running battles, it's a struggle for power, and we need to take it. So by playing this, it hurts White and helps Black. Very good, Swan. We're going to look at the other examples. So if we were to play this, as we see, White pushes and then White gains profit. And so White's making points, Black's playing in the neutral area, just trying to live. And this is very good for White. If Black was to try and continue the attack on this, it's playing on the stronger side, which is hurting his Black stones. In fact, this cut now opens up. So this would be really bad. I forgot to market this on OGS. That was my mistake. I wonder if I should do that. I mean, it's pretty much over. But anyway, so let's continue. So also, let's see. Also, if black was to play this, right, to try and take away the base, once again, white just plays this, and now we have a very similar situation to the other, right? This becomes weak, and then white can profit, right? White can take profit. All right, so that was this example. This is an example of running battles and understanding how we should treat our weak groups and how we should treat our enemies' weak groups. Attacking and saving yourself at the same time is an amazing move. And we are at the final example now. So running battles are a struggle for power. Black has the opportunity to shift the balance of power. Where should black play? Bill, are you with us? Would you want to try answering a question? The nice thing about this is if Bill does, every single person in the Zoom chat got to answer, which is cool.
Okay, yeah, I'll try.
All right, so it looks like it's black's turn, and we have an option of A and B. What do you think black should play?
Well, for power, I would say B.
Mm-hmm. All
If
right.
it's if you're
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right, yeah, let's discuss both. So, Bill, to be honest, I am with you. When I looked at the book, this is the option I picked. And it's because I've gotten so used to trying to seal my opponents in, trying to surround them and attack, and also trying to gain profit and power, right? But in actuality, this is the right answer. And we're going to talk about it. And like you, like I said, I got it wrong. So don't feel too bad. But the reason this is the correct answer is after a few moves, we can see that one, black has a good follow up at A, right? We can see that this would be a really good follow up because black can get out either here or here, right? Black has two ways to connect. Um, but the idea is that N17 was the key. Most running battles are to get ahead or out into the center. And so that's why both me and you, Bill, were drawn to this M10. But this example shows the mark zone concerns the living space for both players. So once black gets this move here, you actually expand your eye potential a lot more, and you rip away white's eye potential here. This actually is pretty devastating. Um, if black plays here first, white is in a lot of trouble. Do you see that, Bill? How white's kind of really damaged, and black is profiting while attacking this group?
Without taking more time, I can't really see if how black can get out both directions if he gets to play A.
Yeah, no problem. We can look at that. So if black plays A, and let's say white, which way is white gonna stop black? Right, either one works. Right, it stops it. It stops it. Right. So if white plays either or, now we can see that black can play here, and if white blocks, we can Atari, and we can play this. And I messed it up because I thought this works. But still, uh,
I'm not as dumb as I look.
yeah, but still, we can see black is profiting, right? Black got to connect both its group and made some profit, and white is just barely surviving, right? And this is kind of the whole point of this class is to learn how to attack. In this case, if white got two stones and black got all this territory, then black's exchanges was worth more than white's. But let me just test some other things. But I
Okay.
think you might be right. I think maybe black can't get out. Right? This doesn't work. None of this works. Still though, if we play it the way I played it, black gets this nice squeeze here, and that's good
Mhm.
enough, right? To me, that's good enough. So that's mainly it for this A. I mean, the book only says that, yeah, the black has a good follow up at A, but it doesn't show you. So I had to come up with my own reasoning, but apparently I misread. Still, though, you can see that this area is very damaged, right? This is a very damaged area for white, and
Right,
black
right.
has already gained quite a lot. As for B, if we play this move, then white gets to play here. And now it says, this is what I read in the book, and I believe it, right? Of course. If black tries to move ahead, if black tries to move ahead, white takes the vital point for the eye shape here. If black was to try and break the eye at A, it will hurt the left side in a struggle of power, right? So essentially, when white cuts here and black has to come back, we can see that black's group here has been significantly damaged. Is it completely done yet? No, right? It looks to me like black can still stay connected to its group, but you can also see that black hasn't gained any eyes. It's just a stick, right? Um, so that's kind of the idea. The idea is that this move helps both white make eyes and potential, and hurts black eye potential. And this move hurts white's eye potential and helps black's eye potential. So when there's a move that involves both players' ability to live and die, this is usually the correct move. Uh,
Okay.
that's what it all boils down to. That is the end. I wasn't able to finish completely chapter 2 of the Attack and Defense book, so that's going to spill over to next week. But this was already a 45-minute lecture, and I think it was really good. I think it gave you guys some ideas to consider. Things that you want to consider and take away from this lecture is definitely to attack for territory and to attack for power. You guys, I think once I laid out the examples, you guys could answer it pretty well. But in your own games, like I said, like this one, there's so many different things that you're thinking about, right? There's so many different positions that some of the obvious moves can be hard to find, right? It's easy to find when you're asked them, but they can be hard to find in your real games. So these are concepts you have to think about. This example, this is just the freshest game I reviewed, which was this morning. Um, really showed that, right? Like that double digit Q players struggle with how to attack for profit, how to strengthen your weak groups, things like that. So that's all I can say about this, guys. Is there any thoughts or questions or anything in particular you guys want to talk about?
No, very nice lecture. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Yeah, I'll keep working on this book. So next week we'll get into more attack and defense.
So after you go through the whole book for me, I might actually be able to read it.
have you
I have
tried
a
before? Was it like complicated?
Actually, attack and defense was tough when I tried it. I think Tasuji was worse. But attack and defense is not easy. So yeah, this will be helpful.
Awesome. Sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I just said I feel the same way.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
after this, that I could get more out of a book.
yeah, I hope so. I mean, pretty much that's what I'll do. I'm gonna try and go through the entire book, explain a lot of this stuff in my own words, right? I take what they say and then kind of put it in a language that would be easier for me to understand and say out loud, right? And then, I try and explain in detail. And there's a lot of things where you've seen in some of the variations, like the one Bill stumped me on. The book gives you a general idea. It's saying, like, now A is a really good move for black, but then when we actually try and play it out, it's like questionable. The only thing I can say about it is it does make white a lot harder to make eyes, right? Like if we were to play
Mhm.
just something like this, you can see that this isn't a living group for white. So even though it can't directly connect to black, it is poking out quite a lot of eye shape, right? And it would put white in bad positions, right? Like bad shape. So like I said, even the book sometimes it leaves you in question, like, is that really like how is this a good move? So I try my best in my perspective to give you guys, those answers, but